Explore Latvia's historic capital Riga with me. Whether you're thinking of a trip there or just want to nosy around, this video is for you. Good morning from Riga. We're by the Freedom Monument and we're right at the north part of the city, just before you get into the old part of Riga, and we're going to have a little look around what you could see when you come here and also go into a couple of the really interesting places. But the one thing you'll never escape when you're in this part of the world is history, and I'll explain some of that as we go along as well. Call me paranoid.
You're paranoid.
But when I was having a little look around the monument then, there was a policeman. He was taking a lot of interest in me. I'm not sure quite what he thought I was doing, but he certainly had a close eye on me. I mentioned right at the start of this video that modern history is never far away in the Baltic states, and this display about the Baltic Way is a great example of it. The Baltic states, Latvia, Estonia and Lithuania, were occupied by the Soviet Union under the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact in 1940, but then occupied by Nazi Germany in 1941. They were then reoccupied by the Soviets in 1944. Soviet rule brought mass deportations and repression. In the 1980s, reforms in the USSR reignited the Baltic push for independence. This culminated in the Baltic Way in 1989, a peaceful human chain of 2 million people across the three countries, demanding freedom and denouncing Soviet occupation. In the early 1990s, the Baltic states restored their independence as the Soviet Union collapsed. They then went on to join the EU and NATO. You'll find references to the states' struggles in many places, including here in Riga. If this video is proving helpful, I'd appreciate a tickle on the old like button to help take this video to other travel enthusiasts. The locations of all the places I visited in this film can be found on the description to this video. Throughout its history, many countries have passed through Latvia and Riga, and our next stop off point marks one of those countries, Sweden. You may wonder how come it was so quiet. The answer, 9 AM on a Tuesday morning. So this ahead of us is the Swedish Gate. Built in 1698 during Swedish rule, this was part of the city's defensive wall. You can find some restaurants on the other side of the gate. However, I really love this narrow passage just before you go through the gate. As ever, recent history was not too far away. Another cathedral on this channel and a chance to look inside. Riga Cathedral, also known as the Dome Cathedral, was founded in 1211. If you have the time, make sure you visit the cloister next to the cathedral, a great place to pause and reflect. There are many more videos to come from my visit to the Baltic states, including getting up close and personal with a castle on the Russian border. To not miss out, hit subscribe. If you're thinking of a weekend break in Riga, then like many of the other Baltic towns and cities, their historic hearts are quite small and very walkable. It's definitely one of those towns where you can just lose yourself down the alleys and passages. just like here. Often when looking around, it pays to look behind you as much as looking ahead. Not far from St. Peter's, the City Hall, and then arguably the most famous building in Riga, the House of the Blackheads. The first thing you need to know is this is not the original building, but a rebuild from the 1990s after Latvian independence. The original building was heavily damaged during World War II and then demolished during the Soviet era. The history of a building on this site dates back to the 14th century, and it houses some great artefacts on 3 levels. The original guild house was for merchants and craftsmen from the Order of the Blackheads. The term Blackheads in this context likely originates from the Brotherhood's patron saint, Saint Maurice, who was traditionally depicted as a black African knight. Saint Maurice was widely venerated in medieval Europe, especially amongst merchant guilds. If the weather is good enough, make sure you take in the view from the balcony of the House of the Blackheads. But I want to take you to one final place, which is just outside the old town, with a short walk along by the side of the river. Well, sort of along by the side of the river, along a road that's along the side of the river. Ahead of us is the hotel that I stayed in while in Riga. I'll put the details of how much it is. Just there, just poking up, is the final destination for our whistle-stop tour around central Riga. Yes, I thought we'd take a quick look around the central market here in Riga, which was put down as a tourist attraction. So let's have a little look. Riga Central Market was built between 1924 and 1930 using repurposed zeppelin hangars from World War I. The market has been in operation for nearly a century now and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Of course I had to finish my time in Riga by getting lunch here. Hi, can I have one of these? Yeah. If you'd like to see more videos from my time in the Baltic states, a link to a video of my visit to the Lithuanian capital Vilnius is on the screen now.